These are in listen-only mode.
All right, everybody, we've got an extremely exciting Webby getting started here. I'm going to pull up my Facebook screen. Give me 1 second here because I want to make sure to put out a notification in the Facebook group. It's a big day. After this event, we've got Sunday Fun Day coming up, so this is just going to be a spectacular event. I'll explain what that means. So here's this thread right here where I said, just talked to Jimmy Kelly for almost 4 hours. Jimmy and I threw down last night, but that was not the only preparation for this event. Greg and Jimmy and Russell and Sue have been feverishly working on this in the background with David Mills to bring this event together. So this is going to be extremely exciting. Chris Marshall chimed in and everything. Okay, so I'm going to type in, we're getting started. Log into your latest news feed to get the Webby sign up link. So this is going to be really great. If this is your first webinar, once you're getting inside of OMG, then this will be especially great for you. And this is just going to be a lot of fun. But it's going to be very informative as well. We're going to be talking about private blog network safety. And we're going to be really throwing down. We're also going to get into, well, much more, actually. We didn't even say all the things that we're going to get involved with on this event. But we've got, again, we've got Greg Morrison, the guy who I call the one-man gang. We've got Jimmy. Can we get everyone in the audience singing Jimmy Kelly? Jimmy Kelly. And then we've got Sue Bell, who's just a brilliant designer, along with her partner Russell Wright. They design wonderful tools. Hopefully, we'll get a look at least one or two of their tools today. I kind of miss B-Silo, kind of talking about that. But anyways, we'll see what all we get to. And then after this event, I want to show you this. Oh, we have Rob Mullins, anxious to get the webinar. Can't find the link, Nick. Nick, it's in your latest news feed. I think it's the second item down. Great. We want to get everybody on here. Oh, nope. Rob can't post that in the Facebook group. No problem, guys. And when I delete things, it's never. It doesn't mean you did something wrong. It just, we don't do that in the Facebook group. But it's, of course, very understandable and very helpful that Rob did that. Okay, now, as soon as the webinar is over, you're going to want to head over to the beginners Facebook group, and you can message me on Facebook, or you can email me at omg@omgmachines.com, because we're going to have a Sunday Fun Day thread, and I'm going to show you what that means. If I scroll down, I don't know how far I have to scroll down. This is such an active group nowadays. But Gregory Ortiz, who joined us just over 100 days ago, he's been making 5 figures per month ever since he joined us as a newbie. It's really extraordinary. And he's been putting on these Sunday Fun Day events. And what they are is almost like a text-based webinar where he's answering your questions. Gosh, I can't believe how active this has become. So this is the previous thread for Sunday Fun Day. I'm just going to bump this really quick. So it jumps to the top of the group, and I'll refresh it. And for the last 2 weeks, but this is, I think, the 4th or 5th Sunday Fun Day that he's done. And Dave Keys actually has been jumping on the last couple of them and helping people as well. And they're answering your questions about private blog networks. Also, Gregory has been, Fran, and it happens in the, and I'm explaining that right now, Fran. It actually happens in your in the Facebook group, so it's text-based. It's a pretty cool event. It happens inside of the OMG Beginner Acceleration and Support group, and you can ask your questions on PBNs. You can ask your questions on client acquisition. If you have a tech hurdle that you're running into, if you don't understand something, if you don't know where to find something, I often jump in on these. Gregory has been just wonderful with it. So it's a really cool place. Very possibly if you have questions about this event today, you'll be able to post them in there as well. So that's going to be a really cool event. If you don't yet have access to it, the best thing to do, if you don't yet have access to the Beginners Acceleration and Support group and you want it, then there's a thread that I put up yesterday when I found out that Gregory was going to be able to do it this week. Let me scroll down right here, the one that says Sunday Fun Day. And I'm just going to bump that one too. And it'll pop to the top of things, and you can see it right here. So this is the Sunday Fun Day thread. And then this thread right here, the I just talked to Jimmy Kelly thread, this, if you feel like kind of publicly posting things about this webinar that we're doing right now, just go ahead and post them right here in the in this thread. I'll go ahead and pin this thread for now, so it just hops to the top of things, and we can see things there. So that was a little bit of housekeeping. Oh, Gregory Ortiz is here. That's really cool. So Gregory Ortiz is actually live on the webinar. We might bring him live at some point towards the end of things. We roughly have Sunday Fun Day scheduled to start at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Right now it's a little bit after 3 p.m. Eastern time. This webinar may run a little longer than that. You guys are welcome to start doing Sunday Fun Day at any time you know, even now. Obviously, you're going to want to be, although pretty focused on this webinar today. This is going to be a fun one. All right, so if you are fired up, please jump in to this thread and just let me know you're fired up, because I know I'm fired up. I'm going to give it actually a hashtag fired up. Fired up. Boom. Actually, I'm going to give it boom too, because I'm really excited. Boom. Okay, so we are going to get started. I want Greg and Jimmy to kick things off. They're going to talk about, this is something that no one, well, it's getting talked about a little bit around the edges, but they're going to start talking about PBN safety, PBN de-indexing, how to avoid that, and we're going to start with that, and then we're going to go from there. This webinar event today, you're going to want to stay focused in, and this is going to be really, really fun. So Greg and Jimmy, would one of you guys like to become the presenter?
Yeah, I'd probably pass it to Greg first.
Yeah, I'll take it, Mike, and then pass it over to Jimmy. Just going to kind of introduce what's going on.
Okay, great.
All right, so how this all came about, people were getting PBNs de-indexed, and Jimmy's the one who came up with the initial start, everything. He found out what was going on in the beginning, probably Sue and Russell as well. So big credit to Jimmy and Network Empire for finding this. You know, it wasn't me that found it, it was them. And I hopped on a call with Jimmy, and he was telling me about link juice, and he's going to get into more details about this. We'll get into specific details. But he was talking about how link juice keeper is likely causing problems, because now it seems when a page is penalized, link juice keeper, what it does is when that page is no longer there, it redirects all the links from that page to the home page. Okay, and that could pass the penalty, which could be causing de-indexing now. So we believe the first problem is link juice keeper, and that was the initial start, that it was link juice keeper. And I still think it's a problem, and I probably won't be using it on most of my domains. Because when you look at a domain, let's just do an example really quick. Let's go to Open Site Explorer, and let me log in here. So when you look at a domain, let's just go look at omgmachines.com. We can go to our top pages here, and that will show you like all the pages on our site and how many links are going to them. For a lot of PBNs, what I notice is most of the links go to the home page, then there's usually tons of pages that have like 0 links, and when you're redirecting all these, now this is actually a domain, like if I was getting omgmachines.com as a PBN, I would actually probably use link juice keeper, me personally. And Jimmy's going to talk about this more. You can be very specific in what you look for, but me personally, to make it quick, if I see this, I'm going to use link juice keeper, because there's so many inner pages getting links that I want to keep all that. Okay, and Jimmy will talk about that in a little bit. But most of my sites that I notice, most of my PBNs, it's a whole bunch of zeros here. So and then it's just all the links going to the home page. So what you're doing is you're redirecting a whole bunch of pages to the home page that don't even have any links to them, right? So it's not really doing anything for you. So that's why I'm not going to be using link juice keeper for most of my sites. And after Jimmy talks about this more, you can decide what you want to do. I think a lot of people will probably not use it at all after Jimmy talks, but me personally, I'll use it on some domains that look like this, where there's a lot of links to inner pages. All right. So after we got done talking about that, Jimmy was like, you know what? Let me run your network through link research tools, which is one of the big tools he uses. He's like, let's just see, you know, if we find any footprints. So he ran it through link research tools, and what we found was Whois information was a huge footprint. Okay, and again, if it wasn't for Jimmy doing this, I would have had no idea. And the biggest footprint for me was sites that were at Network Solutions. Let me type in omgmachines.com. Let me go to who is again. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
And
So I'm just going to do
Greg,
omgmachines.com. This is registered at enum.
yeah, and while Greg's looking that up, I kind of want to, since there's plenty of credit to go around here, and Jimmy and Greg have done a wonderful job on this. The funny thing is, it was actually, Jimmy, you actually got an email from David Mills, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think so.
To kind of get the ball rolling on that. Yeah, this is something that David, really takes really careful consideration to make sure that our SEO is set up properly at OMG. We've seen other situations kind of crash for people where, with SEO you can be a little bit reactive, but a lot of times you want to be proactive. You want to be ahead of the curve. And David working with Jimmy and then looping in Greg, and then ultimately once we realized we were going to do this event, we realized it'd be cool to also include Russell and Sue. And so that's a little bit more about how the event unfurled. And the reason I say that is for people who are new at OMG. I know that people who've been around just kind of assume that David has his hand in things, but it's just kind of nice to know that we're all working as a really focused machine here. Sorry, Greg, please go ahead.
No problem. Yeah, so when Jimmy ran Link Research Tools, what we saw was a lot of my de-indexed domains were coming from Network Solutions, and then the registrar right here would say Perfect Privacy LLC, because that's what they use for the registrar name when you have privacy. And when you have a whole bunch of links going to a site with the same registrar name, with something like Perfect Privacy LLC, which isn't like a well-known name, so to speak, like GoDaddy I think uses like Who Is Agent, that seems to be fine because it's so popular. So many people have that. But Network Solutions really messed up because they're using like a specific kind of LLC type name for the registrar, and then when you have 10 links going to a site and 7 of those say Perfect Privacy LLC, they're putting that together. Now if 7 of those said the normal like GoDaddy type thing, you would probably be fine. But after Jimmy ran that and showed me that, I started testing and looking at data, and I found I had about 100 sites de-indexed out of my network, and about 70 of them were from Network Solutions, where they said Perfect Privacy LLC. And then most of the other 30 said Greg Morrison, where it was just my personal name, where I forgot to use Who Is Protection. All right, so I would say almost all my sites that got de-indexed were because of this footprint. And I probably had a few that got de-indexed because of Link Juice Keeper, just lower quality domains that I got a while ago. But the higher quality domains for me, I look at only high quality domains. Pretty much none of them got de-indexed as a Link Juice Keeper because they were all very high quality domains. All right. So what you really want to look for is, me personally, when I get Network Solution sites now, I'm transferring them away. I'm transferring them to GoDaddy or somewhere like that, and I'm not using Network Solutions anymore. I'm going to leave most of my sites that are there because the ones that aren't indexed, I'm just not going to use, or I'll test with them, see if we can do anything with de-indexed sites. And then, sorry, I got a text message distracted me. And then the ones that are indexed, I'll probably just leave in there for now and see what happens with them. Kind of use it for testing data, see what goes on. But any sites I get with Network Solutions from now on are being transferred out. The other thing I would look for is, for those of you who are using A records, which is where you just change the IP of the A record, it's going to say the same. It could say the same name servers down here, so just be careful of that. Again, if you have if you have 10 links going to a site and every single one of them says domain control, which is GoDaddy's A records, that could be a footprint. I'm not saying it is, but that's just stuff you got to be careful of. So, I would start using private name servers more, which is, ns1.sitename.com, because they can't put it together. And then another thing you can do, which Jimmy will probably talk about, is you can use fake information. I haven't tested with that yet since I don't have firsthand experience with it. I don't want to talk about it, but I think Jimmy does have experience with that, and he may be able to talk about that some. But this is what we see is going on. I think Jimmy is going to really go into some details here in the specifics and all the technical stuff, because that's what he's good at. He found this. So I think he'll do a better job than me of going into the details. If you're ready, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm ready. And I took a screenshot of kind of how it looks for yours, but obviously not like showing any of the other vital information like IP or anything. I just took a
Okay.
screenshot of that specific,
Yeah,
what it
sounds
looks like in the tool. So,
All right, I'll click over. Are you ready for it?
sure, yeah. So I need a volunteer from the audience. I'm going to do a detox on, it doesn't matter, anybody's site. You know, if you know that it's like penalized or something.
Okay, so let's handle this. Obviously, as always, Jimmy's planning means instant chaos. Thank you very much. Okay, here's how we'll handle this. Jimmy, what information would you need? And I'm just going to have people email me at omg@omgmachines.com, and I'll choose somebody for you. So you need somebody with a de-indexed domain of some sort. Is that correct?
Something that's penalized, yeah.
So something that's penalized. So something either with a penalty or that's de-indexed or both.
Yeah, either or.
Okay, so if you have a website that is either penalized or de-indexed, email me at omg@omgmachines.com, and I assume you'll want the URL, Jimmy?
Yeah, I just need the URL, and I'm going to run a report for it.
Okay.
And real quick, credit to one more person, Tim Schmidt. He has a very big network.
Yep.
And I ran his network because he doesn't have a tool like Scrapebox to check for indexing. So I ran his network, which was over 300 sites, through an index check, and he only had like 5 sites de-indexed, which is like crazy for what's going on. And what I noticed was he's using a lot of private name servers, and most of his names are at GoDaddy, so he doesn't really have sites at Network Solutions. So Tim also helped me figure this out with his data.
Greg, that is such a great point. Again, this is something that we have going on at OMG that's just so extraordinary. And again, if you have a de-indexed site of some sort, it could be a PBN or not, something that's either penalized and or de-indexed, email me at omg@omgmachines.com with the name of the website, okay? And I'll choose one of them. Tim Schmidt's a great example. And this is, we call OMG a city on a hill. And you know what? I usually start with the Lord's Prayer, but we were so busy getting started with things. I'm just going to slam it right in the middle here, just kind of random here. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. So the thing is, we just have this extraordinary community at this point, and it gets stronger and stronger and bigger and bigger. And things are a little bit as a bell curve. That's how David designed it. I don't know if people know anything about classroom size, but the way we design OMG, it's very intentional. And with classroom size, folks assume that the smaller the classroom size, the better. And that's a very understandable assumption. It actually turns out not to be true. If a classroom size gets too small, then students' performance really starts dropping quite a bit. So there's actually a sweet spot. And the reason why, by the way, is because sometimes students are kind of having bad days, so they just want to fade out, kind of fade to the background of things. Or sometimes there's not enough energy in a really small group to really pump things up, for example. And so if the class is too small, then we just don't have enough energy. We also have savants that emerge, like Jimmy Kelly, like Tim Schmidt, like Cotton Grammar. And I like almost by naming too many people, it would just take away from everybody. But Jimmy Kelly came into our community, introduced by another OMGer, Alex Becker, who's quite a savant in his own way. And Jimmy, of course, has then gone on to help inspire and educate hundreds of other OMGers. So when we get new people in, there's always that chance that not only will that person become yet another earnings report, yet another success story, and we love those, but also sometimes we'll hit upon somebody, it's that perfect storm where that person will be just very inspiring and very successful and have a lot to share and really inspire other people. And that's what happened, with Tim Schmidt. He's really inspired a lot of people to join, but he's also part of our community. And so he put a thread out. Greg, that thread that Tim started was about a month ago. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So Tim put that thread out. Greg's always watching the threads and seeing what's going on. And so Greg kind of put 2 and 2 together, got with Tim, and Greg, for you and for Jimmy as well, we wind up with so much more data because of our members. I mean, you have a massive amount of data on your own, but from our members as well. And again, we have some people that are a little bit new here, so I want to orient folks as to how OMG works, like how this stuff rolls out. And I've already selected a Jimmy. I'll set things up and I'll bring somebody live in just a moment. But you know, so much of what you need to do, Greg and Jimmy, has to do with us having data. Is that, you know, and so it's really nice for you guys to have the additional data from our members, like in this case with Tim Schmidt.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, because after I ran Tim's sites, I mean that just backed up that was the problem, you know. So.
All right, great. All right, what I'm going to do is bring somebody live right now. I'm actually going to make him an organizer, and I got several requests. Thank you very much for each of them, for everybody who mailed in. I'm actually going to grab Dave Keys out of the audience as a little special thank you, because he's been jumping in on the Sunday Fun Days the last couple of weeks and helping answer their questions. Dave came in and had success right away when he joined OMG, and he's making thousands a month helping people in the real estate niche. So anyways, Dave, are you there? I just made Dave an organizer, and hopefully my computer didn't just crash, but maybe it did. Dave Keys, are you there? Let's see if we got him. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, I got it. I probably got a notification here. There we go. Okay, so I just made Dave an organizer. There's a little bit of a lag before his mic will come live. And Jimmy.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Is it correct? The website that we're going to be looking over, and by the way, thank you again for helping out with Sunday Fun Day, the text-based question and answer that happens nowadays.
My pleasure, man. That thing is absolutely awesome.
I really agree. Thanks for sharing your wisdom. So Dave, the site that you have that's either been penalized and or de-indexed is real-estate-seo.net. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's a money site that got hit by the last Penguin update.
Okay, so Penguin 47 was it? No, who knows? All right, Penguin something point something. Jimmy, do you have that down?
Yeah, I got that.
All right, great guys, rock on.
So the tool has to drill a little bit. So I'll start these reports first, but I'll just kind of. So I usually use link research tools for a lot of my analysis, and especially when I'm trying to do like Penguin or Panda recovery. I use this a lot. So I'm gonna show you guys kind of two tools, because these are some of the things I went over with Greg when we were doing some research on some of these domains dropping off and getting de-indexed. So one of the ones I like to use is the strongest subpages tool. So I'm just gonna put his site in there and just let it run. Okay. Now we're gonna pretend for example purposes that this is a domain that we're going to be picking up. Although you can use this, you know, let's pretend like this is a PBN that we're looking at to possibly buy. But you can also use this in conjunction with trying to repair sites that might have been hit with a penalty. So the other thing we can go do, we're going to go to the link detox report. We're going to put it in here as well just to check it out. And I'm just going to hit don't know. Just let it run. Okay, so we got those reports running. So while those are running, I'm going to go over kind of what we're looking at for link research, or link juice keeper, and kind of go into that. So let's say this is a PBN that we're looking at buying. So Greg does an awesome job of teaching you guys like what to look for, look at the quality of backlinks, you know, make sure your metrics are sound to get the bump up in the SERPs. There's one part though that we have to kind of look at, and that's kind of what were these sites doing in the past. You know, we don't know, even though the link metrics look good, we don't know what they were specifically utilizing the site for. You know, another SEO could have picked it up and did something in the black hat realm that maybe got it penalized in between, you know, a good site owner and then us picking it up. And so it's important to check out kind of how this goes. But before we go into that, I'm going to kind of explain what's happening with Link Juice Keeper for those that are new or learning SEO. So let's say that this is PBN in question. They had all these old URLs, right? So these were old pages that were on the domain. Okay. Everybody can see my screen, okay? I'm assuming.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
And I'm
We'll
not
get
gonna.
yeses.
I'm not gonna make this like super complicated here, but oops, should be a 3. You guys kind of get the idea. Okay, so these are all pages that used to be attached with this PBN, you know, somewhere back in time. It's not that they're there when you're going to buy it, but it was up on the site at some time. So when you pick it up, all you really have is let's see, let's get another shape here. So now we're ready to buy the PBN. Okay, so these are ones that we're going after for in the auction. Okay, this pink one is the blue one. So when you go in and you're going to buy this thing, you're doing all the research and everything on it. It's important you want to go back and look at archive.org or the Wayback Machine, just so we can kind of take a look and see what was on these pages. Trying to remember my train of thought here. Just give me one sec. It's so what Link Juice Keeper does is any pages that these weren't here before, you know, we're trying to capture the juice. So hopefully everybody understands that, you know. So in the past, you know, and I know some of you might know some of this, but we're just doing this so everybody kind of understands the process. So this was a link to page 1 somewhere in no man's land, right? So this could have been, you know, an automated tool like SE Nuke or GSA or Magic Submitter or something that was a little on the spammy side. And we know that these pages don't exist, but we just purchased this, you know. And so we're going along and we're linking out to our, you know, we're linking over to our new money site that we're trying to rank. Okay, so these are our new posts. Okay, and we just installed Link Juice Keeper. Okay, we just installed the plugin. So what that does, it's going to take all this old juice and it 301s it over to the home page. You know, the home page of what it used to be and what it is now are the same thing. So a 301, for those that don't know, it's just saying that, you know, the page you're looking for is now over here. So now what happens is when Google is crawling, need one more thing here, just because it makes it easier. Okay, so when Google comes, so the red arrow is the Google bot, right? So it finds this link, and who knows what time frame this is coming from. You know, I mean, initially, if they did some link building tools, they were probably forcing the index. So these links are sitting out all over the internet. You know, it could take up to 6 months or longer for Google to actually come and find this link. So once you have it here, it hits this link and then goes over to this old page. The old page was part of a pure spam penalty already, and by doing the 301, you're triggering and saying, hey, this page is still live. As soon as it does that, it triggers the pure spam penalty on this. It doesn't matter what you have for the new pages, because part of the pure spam penalty is, you know, what they want you to do is clean up the stuff on the page, and they want you to clean up the backlinks pointing to the page, or whatever it is, they want you to try and you know, clean it up, even though you're the new site owner. Now, mostly with pure spam penalties, you have to go in with a re-inclusion request once you have it, and it's typically easier to do that once when you first get the domain. Like it's kind of a pain in the butt to kind of go in and let's say you didn't design this so well and it looks pretty flaky as far as like a real site goes. You know, so you'd have to go to Google Webmaster Tools and submit a re-inclusion request for this domain, You know, you're not going to have a bunch of links pointing out. You're just say, hey, I'm the new owner. I noticed that this got a pure spam penalty. I didn't realize this when I purchased it. Is there a way that we can lift the penalty? And they'll just lift the penalty for you. So that's one reason I don't like to use these old pages, because not all of them are good. It is a good blanket effect to kind of send them all over here, but that's kind of where we get into link research tools. Does that make sense, kind of the overview of how Link Juice Keeper is working? Give a 1 if that makes sense, a 2 if you're fuzzy on something. Okay, great. Looks like everyone's understanding. So that's why I don't use it myself. Now, there's an easier way to do it. I think Greg mentioned this in the update video they did, is he uses a plugin called Simple 301 Redirects. And for me, I'd rather just 301 the specific pages like this instead of doing a global one, just because we don't know, you know, you're accounting for all these links. They could be coming from bad neighborhoods or whatever, depending on how much research you did for buying this domain. So in that case, that's usually when I go to link research tools, that's what I use the SSPT for. So this column here represents kind of, it's your juice and your trust of those links coming in. So typically I want to keep anything that's a 2 and above. Everything else does not benefit you. So all the zeros that they list in here, and this is what Greg was showing you too with when he's looking at an SEO Moz. It's just a, you know, this is how I look for it in this tool. So anything that I see that has a 0, if I did the link juice keeper on it, like there's no benefit to redirecting all of these ones with a 0. And even a 1, you know, it's not worth it. So I only want to go for 2 and above for when I'm implementing the 301. So I would go in, install Simple 301 Redirects, and you put in the old URL. So if this was our PBN we were buying, we're just going to copy that and put it into the original portion. And then the destination would just be your new, you know, your home page typically. So that way we're only redirecting 2 links actually in this case. You know, we wouldn't be doing the whole lot of these. So that's one part of it. That's why I recommend kind of just using, you know, just do the ones that you need. You don't need to take the risk of what these pages used to do on site. So this goes into, this function in link research tools is called the SSPT. It's the strongest subpages tool. And this is really great for other things as well, but specifically for this, I'm just covering this part of it. So, so let's see where we're going to jump into next. So how do we check against this when we're looking at PBNs to buy, right? We need to make sure that what we're going after is not going to be something that has this pure spam. And if you have a question on it, you know, I would put it in Webmaster Tools under a fake alias, to be honest. You know, you don't want to attach that. You know, don't take all your PBNs and throw it into one Gmail account to see if it has a spam penalty. Don't do that. You want to go in and create a fake alias, and you want to put them in different aliases to just go and check. You know, you don't want to try and tie other footprints together, and I'll show you that in the other report we ran for Dave's site. So from here, what you want to do is you want to go to the Wayback Machine.
Jimmy, can I briefly interrupt? I wanted to, you know, it's funny, we've had so much great feedback on this situation. I wanted to pass out even more. There's so much credit. It's sort of like everybody gets 100% credit because it's such a triumph when we figure these things out. It's so cool, and I know everybody is loving the way that you're teaching this because obviously there's such clarity of people understanding what you're talking about. But I also want to give a shout out to Chris Marshall, who's been passing us some great data. Chris has been doing just great stuff, and he passed some tips on to Jimmy about some of the things that he was seeing and so forth to Jimmy and Greg. So, you know, lots of things to go around, and I just kind of wanted to point that out because I really do appreciate it. Chris is one of our top guns from the UK, and I don't know, I just plenty of great credit to go around here, and just quite a nice thing. Just something that you just said, Jimmy, sparked something that Chris had brought up to us last week. So thank you very much, and please proceed.
Okay, thanks, Mike. So let's see. So what we want to do is we want to take in. Let's just take this domain again, and see if I can just copy it without getting the whole string here. So, his isn't going to be, if this was a money site or something he's trying to rank, we're not going to be able to see probably that much history, but we'll just check it. Okay, so when you go into this tool, and I'm sure some of you are familiar with this, but this is just one of the extra things I do to make sure that my PBNs are healthy. So this one doesn't really have any gaps, but when I was when I was going over this with Greg, what I look for are big gaps in between, with nothing online. So you see these solid black lines and the amount of pages that they have recorded in archive.org. What I'm looking for is something like this. Like there's a space here that looks, probably 2 or 3 months that there's nothing there. There's a black part here and then solid black over here. So, I do spot checks too along the way. I'm not saying you have to go in and, go through it with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, you're welcome to, but I just kind of do spot checks to see, like, in between these gaps, what were these people doing, So this to me, when you're looking at it, looks pretty good, right? So I wouldn't question this. Let's go back to March 23rd, because that's where the other big gap was. And I don't know anything about this domain. So this is what it looked like back in March of 2011. Okay, and this still looks pretty good. I don't see like any crazy stuff on here. And by crazy stuff, I'm talking like something that's a spam page or, tons of outgoing links. You don't want to link farm. The other thing you need to be careful of, one thing I look for is, I came across a lot. So I looked through a lot of people's PBNs that got de-indexed, and 2 of the most common things look like this. So this was a screenshot that I came across. So it was like a lawyer site before, and it looked really great. It was a company site before, and then when he picked it up, it was a really good-looking PBN. I didn't see any issues with his on-site PBN. He had themed everything. But in between, I found this. And it was only a couple of pages on the site, but, this does not match the rest of the... this does not match the rest of what that site looked like. If you're seeing stuff like this is not a good sign. Okay. The other thing you want to be careful of is, the other thing I noticed, there were pages that were real thin content, like maybe a paragraph or maybe a sentence or 2. You want to go in, and the other thing I typically do is I right-click.
And Jimmy, how did that page happen? Jimmy, how did that page happen? I assume that that's from a hack attack of some sort. Like nobody just decided to stick a Chinese spam page on their site, right?
Well, it could be. I mean, it's a possibility that it got hacked. It could also be that the person that owned it in between the OMG, or that owns the domain now, and what it used to be when the business owned it, maybe was just doing really black hat stuff with the domain, and so he probably could have put that up on his own. And so
you're saying that the OMGer could have put it up, or
no, not the OMGer, the owner that was in between the original site owner and before he picked it up.
Got it. So what should people do? Like a little bit more carefully inspect the PBNs if they're buying, or what's the action item there?
Yeah, the action item is to come in and just do a spot check in the archive.org. You want to make sure that they're not, you're not finding stuff like that. And the other thing that I noticed, and that's what I was just going to show.
Will that kind of way, in your estimation, at that point, the site becomes quite a risk to include in what you're doing. Is that correct?
Yeah, like for me, if it looks bad enough, you have one of 2 options at that point. To get rid of the pure spam penalty, that you have to go in with re-inclusion. So at that point, link juice keeper is thrown right out, or whatever 301s. I would never 301 other pages of that to the home page, but let's say you bought it and you haven't done anything with it yet, I would go in and request a reconsideration request on that domain right then and there before you start building it out. and just state your case to Google. You know, they're going to give you leniency if you just tell them, hey, I just bought this domain. I didn't realize it had a spam penalty on it. I don't plan on doing that kind of stuff. Will you re-include it? So at least you'll get the juice of whatever is going to the home page. And in most cases, that's where most of your juice is anyway.
And Jimmy, you're significantly careful about, you don't just run around right and left doing these re-inclusions.
No. And I'm just saying this should be part of the process of when they're going out and looking to buy these PBNs.
And why is it that you're careful about doing, of course I know the answer to this, but I want to share this, make sure that people understand it. Why is it that you are so careful with re-inclusions?
Well, because this can trigger the penalty on your own site. So for instance, let's just pretend that these, let me dump these ones real quick. So the reason for, let's say these are all links. Let's say these are your PBN links, right? So you have all these PBN links that are now pointing over to the site you're trying to rank. Okay. So if you have this situation, and that's a pretty bad one. Sorry that the text is upside down. But let's say these are all your PBN posts from these different domains that you were using to rank your site. Well, if this one gets de-indexed and this one gets de-indexed and this gets de-indexed, that's going to trigger a significant drop, or if you get enough of them, it's going to trigger a Panda penalty for your site. Does that make sense?
It does. Can you explain to people why that would be a Panda penalty?
Because you have too many low-quality links pointing to your page.
Bad neighborhoods.
Yeah, bad neighborhoods.
Great.
And depending on the neighborhoods, it can trigger Penguin. Going into those is something we're going to do at the live event, though, because that probably would take about an hour to explain. But
okay, now if you got something out of what Jimmy just said, give me the number one. And if you're a bit confused about it, that's absolutely fine. Then give me the number two, and just give me a short sentence that you'd like Jimmy to help clarify. Look, we're getting a lot of number ones here. I got one number two from Ray, but Ray, what I need from you is a short descriptive sentence. All right. Now, Anna says number two, but she's just starting. This is all new to you. That's absolutely fine, Anna. The way that we learn, and this is really important for new people, it's wonderful news for you. This is something that we learned from David Mills in your law of implication training. The way that human beings actually learn, if you just imagine a child, the first time a child sees a tree, they don't just have the whole understanding of what trees are and forests are and leaves and photosynthesis. It doesn't all spring into their mind in one moment, right? What happens is they don't even see the tree. They see a leaf here. They see a branch there. They see a bit of bark, maybe a bit of bark on the tree, another piece of bark on the ground. So what they are seeing is details. So what we see when something is brand new to us is first we see details, and those details then pass us in to the root understanding. So it goes, they help us assimilate and get to the core of things, which in the case of the tree might be the trunk. The trunk might be the core thing that we need to understand. Like, oh, okay, there's a trunk, okay? But then that's not the full understanding. So we've gone from details to having a framework or core understanding. But once we get to that framework or core understanding, then we build back out to understanding the whole idea of how the tree works. And okay, there are leaves, and then the leaves are connected to the branches, and then there's the roots, and then that all makes sense. Okay, so right now, even if you're brand new to this, this is great news to you, because even though these particular details may be lost on you, they're helping you get to the core understanding of what you need to know, what Greg is going to be showing you, what Jimmy's going to be showing you, and so on, and what you're going to be learning inside of OMG. You'll get to the core, and then you'll build back out. And remember, you're just getting a wonderful skill. I mean, this takes, I mean, goodness sakes, Dave Keys can tell you, you'll have people that are, say doctors, someone who tries to become a doctor, takes them, maybe 1 in 10 people who really try hard to become a doctor or even get into med school in the first place. Then it's like 11 years of being in med school, and then they have $300,000 in debt, and then they've earned the right to work, often stressful 60-hour weeks to finally earn the kind of paychecks that so many OMGers will learn how to earn, sometimes in weeks or months. And so that's very different. Dave Keys, if you're still on, you really weren't particularly technical when you joined us, and you've come so far.
Yeah, I have a little bit of technology background, but it had nothing to do with my success here.
Right. So you really had to like start from, and at the beginning, the first time you were on a webinar with Greg or Jimmy, I'm sure it just a little bit appeared like gobbledygook at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then really it all comes together.
It does pretty fast, and I do have to give a shout out for law of implication, because that really is kind of a catalyst for helping you pull your thinking together to what you should be focused on. Yep,
I absolutely agree. Thanks so much, Dave. All right, so that was a little bit to help people understand. I'm going to go through some of these questions here and see if there's something that Jimmy, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me do a simple version of this just so
Great.
It makes sense. So Panda, a brief thing on Panda. Panda does deal in links. I don't know if I should get in this. Sue, should I get into this, or is this going to be too complex? If Sue is around.
Well, I think the whole web is pretty much going to be on this at this point anyway, so go for it.
Okay, so basically with Panda, Panda does deal in links, but with their patent, they're looking at the quantity of links, so to the amount of content with that link. So what do I mean by that? So when you link over to a money site, you're typically doing one link from one page or one post of content. When that balance gets upset, that triggers a Panda penalty on your site. So sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with dupe content and everything to do with page layout algorithm, things of that nature. So what I mean by this, so just take a step back here and look at this from a Google perspective. Okay, so let's just say that you link to these and then you realize these got de-indexed, right? So these two just went down. Okay, so you have inbound links from pages or a post that is no longer indexed in Google, but you still have a link going to that site. Okay, so what happens then if you get too many of this situation? That's going to cause that penalty to hit this site. Now, sometimes you might just see a drop and it's not going to cause a penalty if you still have more of the good ones here going out to your money site. But that's why it's very important that we cover tracks, you know, with the registration email, with the DNS, with the IP. You know, we don't want these things getting de-indexed because that ultimately causes a penalty to your money site. And depending on what kind of action, if it's bad enough with you know, link services and things like that, where they actually put it into the Penguin algorithm, I mean, that's going to trigger your Penguin penalty. And we'll kind of go into that of how to look at that real quick. But you know, just keep an eye on that. So that's why it's important to do the Wayback Machine research, because you just want to make sure that these are, you know, that once you start rocking and rolling on linking to your money site, that this isn't going to get de-indexed.
And Jimmy, a couple quick things. Larry's wondering if you already had a Link Juice Keeper installed on a PBM for 6 months, do you just leave it there or do you pull it off?
I would check and see if it's de-indexed or not. You know.
Hey Jimmy, do you have a Google Webmaster account where we can pull up and show them where they need to look?
Yeah, but it's got all my domains in it.
Okay. Hang on, I'll make a screenshot and shoot it to you.
Okay.
Thank you, Sue. Also, I just brought Fletch live. Fletch had a specific question that I think might be instructive for people. Fletch, are you there?
Yeah, Mike, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Let me kill my... Here, make sure this works. Am I still good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, the question I had a server bank actually get hit with a hacker, and about 10 of my money sites had the home pages replaced by, you know, you've been hit by such and such from whatever country. And they sat like that for a few months before I caught it. And even when I did catch it and get things cleaned back up and put good original content back on, the rankings have not come back. And I was wondering what, if anything, I could do to clean that up.
That would be kind of in this next part that I'm going to show, because I'm going to kind of show what you're looking at as far as like footprints and patterns.
Okay.
Kind of how to match that up with, you know, it really depends on how the linking was done, but, you know, did you do your re-inclusion for a hack site in Google?
No, I have not. I have not done anything through Webmaster Tools on those.
Okay, so in Webmaster Tools, there is a section, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I don't know if you know, Sue, but it's like, I don't remember, it's like a hacked or malware. There's something in there that Google offers.
Okay.
That once you clean it up, you just submit it to them, and they'll just lift it.
Okay.
Once
Cool.
they verify that you've cleaned up the malware issue or the hack portion.
Content stuff.
So this is a little bit different what you've got, Fletch, because you're talking about money sites. Money
Correct.
sites I always have in Google Webmaster Tools, and I generally have them in my main account, so I know I get emails on them if something's gone wrong, and Google usually alerts you when your site's been hacked. And when they do that, then there's a place right there in Webmaster Tools where that message is that says, I fixed this, re-include me, please.
Gotcha. It just triggers that automatically when they
Yep.
know that's happened. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll definitely start doing that. Some of these are just really small single keyword sites, and I didn't take the time to go through and get all that set up, so I need to do that from now on.
So good. Yeah, that's yeah, so if you just do that and it's clean, they'll just release it. So you just
Okay.
have to worry about that.
Cool, cool. Good to know. Good to know.
So we ready to go on to the next part, or there's still...
We are. I'm going to just quickly let people know. I've been going through and answering some of the questions that are coming in. They're great. You have to remember, we're very well set up for this because of the way that David designed OMG. We're just very, very well set up to accommodate new people coming in, and that's great. It actually is of great benefit to the people who are more experienced and more successful, because then we have more energy going on. It gives us more of a reason to do things, and very often new people, often in a surprising amount of time, emerge as success stories, and even as somebody you might even find, it's funny, like right at this moment, things might feel a little bit daunting to you, but you might be one of the people who just winds up being extremely good at some aspect of what we're doing, and where you're helping other people. So it's really a neat time here. Also, this is being recorded. I've had several questions as to whether this is being recorded. Yes, this is being recorded. And so you'll be able to go through things over time. You may revisit this webinar next week or even a month from now when you have things more down. And so it's great to be taking written notes here. Thanks so much, Jimmy and Sue. Please continue.
Okay, so this will go into the next part. So I just want you guys to be aware of that with the de-indexing of domains, and this ties into making sure your registration stuff is buttoned up, like with what Greg was mentioning at the beginning. So go ahead, Sue.
I showed you that link if you want to show them that Webmaster thing first with the next part.
Is it
In Skype.
No, I don't have Skype open.
Oh, you showed it to somewhere else then. I'll put it here in the to organizers and panelists only. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And so ultimately, to clarify, and Paul asked this most recently, if they have linked JuiceKeeper on a PBN and it has not been penalized, then should they rip it off?
No. No, if it has not been penalized, then you're safe. So you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing with checking links, make sure they look good. That's all fine. We're just adding an additional step to say, hey, make sure you go back and look at what the pages look like during the ownership of the site for when it was up. So you go to the Wayback Machine, see what they index and stuff, because that's going to prevent you, if you run across a page that looks like that Chinese, like this, I would be hesitant with that. I would immediately, if I bought this, if I said, okay, I see this page, there's only a couple of them in the Wayback Machine, I'll take a gamble and just buy this domain anyway because I like the juice. As soon as I got that, I would put it, I'd create a a fake Gmail account, and you're going to put it into Google Webmaster Tools, and you want to go and check. Sue sent a screenshot here. Once it's registered, you go in there, there's search traffic, and then you click on manual actions. Here it'll say pure spam or something. You'll see a message here that will say what it is. So, and if I know that, then immediately before I do anything else with domain, all I do is go to Google for a re-inclusion request, and I say, hey, I just picked up this site. I'm the new owner. I did not realize it had a pure spam penalty on it. I'm not going to be doing anything against the Google's terms of service. Will you please re-include the site in your index? And they'll just let you in, especially if you're not implementing Link Juice Keeper or anything like that. Okay. So, but also in addition to that, if you take that risk with it, only that's going to be lifted on the home page. You do not want to 301 any of the other old pages when you do that. Okay.
It can take a couple of days for that manual action to show up after you register it too. It's not necessarily an immediate thing.
Yeah. So you guys just have to be cognizant of that. Let's see. Okay, the other thing I just wanted to do is, let's say you went to the Wayback Machine, and let's just say you just see like a sentence on there, and there's nothing else. Let's say it's all white. Okay, what you want to do is you want to right-click, and you want to do view. Oops. I do view page source. Okay, so you can see what the HTML of the page is. Okay, so this is another common thing that I saw. I mean, I checked a lot of people's PBNs that got de-indexed, and these are the two most common. Foreign language pages showing up, and then hidden links. Okay, so what they would do, so you know that you should only be seeing a text of content on here. If you go down and you start seeing tons of this, but you can't see it on the page, they were link cloaking, so you're going to want to pass that up, or at least you know that it's probably got a pure spam penalty on it. So that's going to prevent from it's going to do a lot of prevention on part of actually picking up a PBN that's already got, you know, this pure spam penalty on it. So hopefully that makes sense for people. So now, one quick thing I want to show you guys is just do a quick run through of how I would identify bad links. This is not quite done. I still have. I pulled up Greg Ortiz's domain. This one's still running at 99%. We'll just show this one real quick while that other one's still running. So, okay, so when I look at this, so the one we did on this was the link detox. Okay, so the things I'm looking for is this bar all red? If I see yes, then the next number I'm looking at is this one. If this is 2 and below, it's probably toast. You're better off not trying to fix it, or, you know, staying away from it. But let's just take a look at the backlinks. I just want to show you guys this tool for the kind of stuff you can do. So one thing that they do is kind of do filters. And so when you're in this tool, you're going to click on Detox Rules Breakdown. And the ones I'm looking for are ones that say possible link network. So you got Suspicious 24, Suspicious 23, and you get to see some of these other ones. You're looking for, there's the 22. So 22, 23, and 24 so far. And then I always check the toxic ones. So when I do this filter, I just come down here. I'm going to show all columns, so I can open this up. And this is the tool I like to use. I mean, there's other ways to go about doing this, but it can take a while to put all this information together. So I just go down to the rules, and I'm just going to check all the toxic portions. Okay, because I only want to see the ones that are possible a link network. Okay, so we know it was 22, 23, and 24. We're going to pull those up, and so it looks like we got about 40. There's 39 links that possibly have a footprint. So when we ran this for Greg, this was the picture of what we saw in the registration. The other ones were the ones he mentioned where it was just his name that was Greg Morrison on there, and this is the registration email typically or owner for this domain. So it can look pretty fishy if you have all of these coming through. You know, if all these were going to one money site, that can seem kind of suspicious, even if you set everything else up right. So, and I'll show you what I mean on this site. So we're just going to take a look.
And Jimmy, and what makes it even worse, guys? What makes it even worse is when your money site says the same thing. And if your money site says Perfect Privacy LLC, then you got a bunch of links from that. So also pay attention to what your money site says in the WHOIS information.
So
by the way,
these are the main footprints that I
just really quickly. If you're just freaking out over this event, you're just loving it. Just give me something like a hashtag boom or a hashtag city on a hill, because I'm getting a lot of private messages from people that are just really, really enjoying things. So you can there's that pinned thread in there if you want to give us like a hashtag city on a hill, because this is obviously an extremely successful webinar. Folks are just really eating this up. Even brand new people who are just starting to get a taste of things, really understanding the expertise inside of OMG. It's a great feeling knowing that you're able to stand on the shoulders of titans. Please go ahead, Greg and Jimmy.
Okay, so this is the registration. That's that screenshot I just showed you of Greg's. So you can see, like, if I can pull up this information, Google can pull up this information, right? Everybody understand that? I hope you guys understand that. So here's the name server, IP. So these are the main things I look at for footprints. The registration, so the owner of it, the DNS, that's your name server, your IP, the block of where your link's coming from. Then you also need to be concerned with AdSense, your Google AdSense ID if you're using Google AdWords, and your Google Analytics ID if you're putting these into Google Webmaster Tools. So you can see here there's two different, well, these ones aren't even that great. So you got two different links here that have the exact same DNS, the same exact IP, and the same exact Google Analytics ID. I mean, that's a footprint right there, okay? So, and it's not bad. Like in this situation, let's say I did set something up like this. I would never link both of these to the same money site. I'd only link one to a money site and the other one to the other money site. But when you send them all to one domain, like it would be on this, you're running into a footprint problem. You can just go through the list here. Look at this DNS here and the IP, the same all the way down. Okay, so you have 5 different links that are coming from the same neighborhood. Okay, and you can kind of see that throughout. So if all these are pointing to the domain that we did the detox on, and so you can see that if you get too many of these, and this is like a big footprint over and over again, since these are all going to the same domain. You're getting links of 4 or 5 going to the same domain from the exact same IP and DNS. And then you also have some instances like this, where they've even got the registration name owner in there as well. So those are the things you want to be careful of when you're going and looking at, trying to clean up your PBNs, or, the other thing I like to look at. So, if I wanted to get rid of this bad stuff, all you do is select all URLs. If you think they're all bad, you can just click on domain and click on disavow. So that just disavowed all of these links, and then what I can do is I can just come up here and get the Google disavow links, and so then it outputs a text document, and this is what it looks like. This has all your domains in here that are bad, which they start at here. So I just delete this portion out typically. And then I'm just deleting the links for this entire domain, and I put that into the Google Disavow tool. So that's what you want to do to try and identify neighborhoods and things that are going on site. And we'll go into more detail with stuff like this at Nashville Live. I think this is one of the topics that we're covering. So, anything else that we need to cover, Greg or Sue? Did I miss anything?
As far as technical, I don't know, but you know, some people had questions about, you know, PBNs dying and all that, and you know, is this going to hurt SEO? I mean, I think this is just going to make us stronger personally, because, you know, like I took a 100 site hit, like I lost 100 sites. I'm just like, it's just like whatever, because a lot of people are going to quit doing PBNs because they don't know this information, and that just gives us another leg up. So just trying to kind of try to look at this as just making us stronger. You know, I know a few people are like, you know, I'm worried about what's going on. You know, we got it figured out here until now, and this is just going to make us stronger than everyone else. So.
Yeah, it's really.
So somebody was asking.
The advantage just gets to be more and more, Greg. You know, like the closeness that we have with this community, and you know, with having you and Jimmy like that, it's really fun, and you know, a lot of other. You know, we're getting so much data, and we have such a focus on this. I mean, you, David, and Jimmy have just you know lasered in on this, and it's just a really cool situation. Also looking forward as this event continues. We're also going to hopefully have time to sit down with Sue and talk, do some tool talk as well. So make sure to stay glued to your seats. Go ahead, guys.
And that type of stuff happens with SEO. You know, it's part of the game we play. Like, I mean, 100
Yeah.
sites for me was probably, you know, 30, 40 grand. But I mean, it's testing data now. I'm going to test with de-index sites. I'm going to see what happens with de-index links. You know, there's a lot of data I'm going to get out of it. So I'm looking at it as kind of a win. I can always replace those sites and move forward. So.
Well, and that's one of the things that you just do for OMGers. I mean, you're out there. You know, that's just one of the services that we have, Greg, is you having all that data. I'm going to show something. This is pretty personal. The person's name is blocked, so you can't see who they are. Actually, let me just yeah, I'm quite sure this is plenty secure. Nobody will really know. You know what? Let me just slightly modify this email to smudge out their name just to make sure. You know, because it's a little bit private. This is from an OMGer who just joined us, and they really ran into something like quite rough. I'm not. It could look like I'm kind of bashing another program. I'm really not in doing this. Actually, I'm just gonna blur one more detail. That'll be smart. Okay, great. Let me say this, and I'm gonna reveal this. Because I really want you to be aware of the nature of what we're working with here, and how powerful it is, and how differentiated it is. Because I think it's exciting, and it's very beneficial to see. I sent this to Jimmy and Greg and Cotton and David Mills, and I believe Fletch just the other day. I'm going to show my screen here for a second. I'm going to make myself the presenter, and then I'll give the screen back to Jimmy in just a moment. Let's see. Okay, so okay, and show my screen. So this is an email I got in. And I don't know how well, can everyone see this? Greg, can you see this email that's up?
Yeah.
Now, how did you feel when you saw this? I mean, it's kind of shocking, right?
I don't know if I saw this one.
So this is a woman who's making $25,000 per month on Amazon. $25,000 per month. And she's making literally zero profit. She's probably losing money. And Cotton kind of commented on it, and he said that if just the thought of an OMGer making $25,000 a month with what we're teaching and having no profit is just ridiculous, because it's what we're doing is so profitable, right? Like, so there's some costs here and there when we lose a PBN or lose a money site or something like that. It sucks. We don't want to lose it. We do everything that we can to keep that as low as possible. Obviously, we're working hard right now. But Jimmy, I mean, the thought, you and I were talking about this last night, and I blurred out the name of the program because I don't want to like sit around bashing people here, but it's just shocking, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of sad that all the profits go back into the sponsored ads.
Yeah, into the sponsored ads and buying more inventory and so forth. And meanwhile, OMGers are just laughing all the way to the bank. And my point is, this is one of the few programs where you actually do see some earnings reports. Not very many, but some. But then you just start wondering, well, if $25,000 a month means actually zero, then it's just pretty shocking, right? And a lot of people are chiming in. I think a lot of people know which program this is, but I don't. I'm not trying to bash them. Okay, that's not my point in this. What I'm saying is there's a reason why. And look, we believe in Amazon. We just believe in it by ranking Google pages because we want to have an unfair advantage. We don't want to be in the same boat, blowing all of our money on paid ads and sponsored ads. You can do that to supplement things. But I just kind of want to point this out, like while we're in the middle of things, and we really have just unprecedented data. I thought it would just be kind of a good moment. This is an email I got in yesterday, and it's just heartbreaking to me. So I just want to see people have success. But there's also just tax implications when you're running a $25,000 a month business. You can just run into tax problems. I mean, it sucks. Like, sorry, what I mean is, of course, it's fine if you make $25,000 a month and you're making $22,000 a month in profit. Of course, you're going to pay taxes on it. But my point is, it just sucks to, and of course, there are some people that are clearing some money. But my point is, a lot of them aren't. But I can't fathom an OMGer making 5 figures per month and not clearing, 80, 90% profit. I just can't fathom it. I just, for me personally. So I just wanted to kind of point that out and just a little bit of a, a moment of perspective there. Greg, Jimmy, I'll pass the screen back to you.
Okay. Yeah, so I think what I want, for those that are new and stuff, don't freak out about learning the tools and things like that. Follow the steps that you went and registered your sites with how Greg teaches. And also, when you're picking up your PBNs, make sure that you're doing the research on the links, and also just throw it into the Wayback Machine. Go do some spot checks. I know it's an extra step, but that's going to avoid a lot of the problems that you're going to get with some of these things getting de-indexed. Okay, so just things to pay attention to. It's just an extra step you have to do to make sure that you're picking up a good, healthy domain, and that you're not going to run into it getting de-indexed the second you put a 301 from an old page to the home page on it. Okay, I hope this helps. We do have some fun stuff at the end of the webinar, but we're not going to announce that. But I want to encourage people to stick around. We're going to go into Sue's portion next.
I was answering a bunch of questions, so I just want to check. Did you go into how to disavow?
No, I didn't. So I can pull it up on my other screen here. Hold on a second. I think I can get into that without getting into issues here. Just give me 1 minute, folks, while I pull this up.
Jimmy, you can pause the screen if you need to log in and not show some stuff.
Okay, so what you want to do, so I never can find it. I know some people are good with remembering links to different stuff, but I just usually type in Google disavow tool, okay, and I go to this first one here, and then let me log in here so you can see what it looks like. So okay, so the first screen you go to, it's going to show it's going to show a red button. You select the domain that you want to do, and then you're going to come into here and you just click on disavow links, and that file that we downloaded from Google Webmaster Tools, you just upload it. So you could click this, and then I could go find my file, the one that I just downloaded, which is this, and I just hit open, okay, and I just hit submit, and then that's all you do for your disavow. There's another portion you need to do with it, which is getting those old links re-indexed and stuff. But you know, there's a lot that goes into that. So the stuff we'll cover at OMG Live. But you know, if you just want to get rid of bad links, just put them into that thing and get those crummy links you want recrawled. So
Good.
that's how you do a disavow for your links in a nutshell.
We've got several questions on the Wayback Machine. Can we go back to that screen for just a second?
Yeah. Where to go? Oh, we're right here.
So when you see a gap in the Wayback Machine in those black lines up at the top, doesn't that just mean that there weren't any changes?
When you see what?
So the black lines up at the top of those black lines there, doesn't that mean that those are changes that were made?
These are the amount of captures that they did during that time frame.
And they don't do a capture if there's not a change, right?
Typically, but it just depends on when they crawl it. So, you know, when I get concerned, I don't usually, like, so if I see a cluster like this where it's pretty solid black here, I'll check the front and I'll check the back. But the ones I'm concerned about are where I see the gaps.
And Jimmy, when we were looking at it, we had like big gas in one of the sites we were looking at. Like, you know, there was a site in like 2001, 2002, 2003, and then there was blank from 2004 to 2008. And then it started up again in 2009. That's a big thing you told me to look for, is like those really big gaps.
Yeah, the really big gaps, you know that it's probably changed ownership during that time frame. And so you definitely want to check, you know, if this gap was all the way back in 2005, you want to see what it looked like back in 2005. I mean, it could have been some black hat SEO person that's just loading it up with cloaked links or something. You know, or doing some other bad stuff. So it's not just a combination of bad links that we're looking for. We want to see what did the content look like as well.
Okay, does that answer everybody's questions about the Wayback tool? If you got more questions, let us know. Let's see what else we got.
Again, you guys don't want to go anywhere. Stay till the end of the Webby. Got a couple of surprises for you.
So there were some things that we talked about, how not to expose your blog network. Do we want to go over those points?
Now, Michael's asking, so what about Dave's site?
Well, Dave's site was just, I mean, I'd have to research. Let me see. So it'd be the same process. Let's see if his finished up yet.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
So it looks like it's done. And some of these won't get picked up if he did the spider spanker on it. It can't always pick up everything. So you also want to make sure you take into account your own PBNs and stuff too. And you can upload custom lists and put your domain in there to show those that are getting blocked. But sometimes it can't pick it up. So he's pretty red on this. He's got a high detox risk, but it does have a 6 on this one, so it's not that bad. You know, as long as it's above 2, that's what I care about. So if it's 2 and below, chances are you can't recover the site, and it's not even worth trying to, because you could get better trust and power to that domain just starting over. Okay, so the only time I look at this is if this is 2 and above. So on this one, we just do the same process. So I'm looking for possible link network for the detox rules breakdown. So here's one. He's got suspicious 6. And I just write these down because that's the filter that I do down below. So I'm just going to go through here and scan. I also grab all the toxic, anything that's tox 1, 2, or 3. I'm also going to grab those automatically. So we have 6, we have 7. You guys see where I'm seeing this on here? This one can be bad. Remember what we were talking about with penalized pages on it? He has 33 coming from possible penalized pages, so that can be causing an issue. But I typically don't look at that until I've gone through and identified the possible link networks and the toxic ones. But Here's another one. So we got 6, 7, 23, 22. Okay. So then I'm just going to come down here. The next button I click is Show All Columns. Okay. So I just want to open this up so I can get all the filters. And I usually, to work with this, I just make it so it only displays 10 so I can scroll at the bottom. That's what I wish they put the scroll bar on top, but what can you do? So you just come into Tools, and I'm going to check the toxic ones right off the bat. And then we had 6 and 7, which are right here. Okay. And it was 22 and 23, I believe. So these ones. So these are all the bad ones, the very bad ones. The other one that was the 4 coming from penalized pages, if that's like in the hundreds or something, I'm going to include that. If it's only 33, it really depends on how many links the site has, you know. Remember the example that we're looking at here, you know, you can still do okay here as long as they're not like, you know, going overboard with the penalized stuff going to the money site. You know, if you have more of these that counterbalance this, then you're going to be fine. So let me move that again. Okay, so immediately I just run over to see what this looks like. So you can see right here. So you see this thing here. So there's no Google Analytics ID on here. Where'd it go? Yeah, that's good. So he doesn't have this footprint. He doesn't have this footprint. Got the IP and the DNS here, and then but he's got his name right here, and then there's it right there. Now, if you look down below again, he's got a different IP than up here, and he's got a different. Well, the name server's the same, but again, he's got the registration ownership right there. So that's what I'm saying. Like, even though you might have a separate IP, and if your DNS is different, and you're linking to it over and over, if it's all coming from, you know, the registrant being from Dave Keys, I mean, that's going to be a footprint for Google. They can see that.
Pre-OMG, guys.
So, yeah, this is nothing against Dave. You know, I'm just showing you guys kind of what to look for. Let's see.
Can I, once again, I've kind of a little bit of a broken record on this, but isn't this just nuts? Like how valuable is this? Please, please post in the Facebook group, you know, because I just think this is nuts.
So here's a good example. Do you guys see this one here? So this is the registrant one. And the same name, but look, we got different IPs. So he's got different IPs, he got different DNS. I don't think there was any, I didn't see any analytic IDs or anything like that, but this can be a footprint, so that's why you want to be careful. Now, it's okay, again, you know, if you end up putting this on the same registrar and stuff, for me personally, I vary the links from this. So, you know, if you come across, you know, so let's say I'm picking 3 links, you know, I can pick one of these, and I'll pick not supported, I'll pick an NA, and then I'd pick this one going to one money site, because that footprint would be pretty hard to distinguish, you know. And then there's more common ones where you have like GoDaddy and stuff like that. You can get away with more of those, obviously, but it's just something that I'm careful with when I do my backlinking.
And Jimmy, this is the detox tool, right?
Right. This is Link Research Tools, the detox tool.
You showed me this like 5 times, and this time I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, you guys can see, like, that's what I'm saying. If we can see this.
Yeah, and by the way, what Greg just said is really critical. Like, I really want you to understand, we're always learning too. Like, we always have at OMG, you know, we have what David Mills calls this initiate mindset, and we're really looking to just keep going and going. Like Greg, you know, very humble guy, everybody loves him, and just comes out saying, hey, Jimmy showed me this 5 times, and now it's starting to make a totally different kind of sense. And that's the same thing I'm talking about. We go details to core understanding, and then back out to the details. And that's, you know, how real learning happens. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, so it's just something, and that's what I'm saying. Like, just be careful with your registration. One way you can check this, so you don't have to go and buy the tool. So let's just grab the domain real quick. Realestateseo.net. So you can go to who.is. So if you don't want to, if you can't afford the tool or whatever, you can just type in the domain here. So .net, okay. Just do a search for it, and then it's going to pull up the information on here. So you're looking, registrar info. Here's your name servers and your IP. So you can go look at all this stuff. Go to DNS records. You can go in here and just double check and make sure, things look good in here. So that's one way to just go and check without having to use link research tools. And the other one, just to be safe, is just make sure you're checking what the content of the page looked like before. Make sure there's no link cloaking or foreign language stuff in there. And then if you want to see if a site's de-indexed, I mean, you can either do something like this. So you do site : and then put in the domain name. And typically if I see something that's fishy, and I know there's other pages on the site, like, it won't come up as number 1 here. You'll see it in the list, but it might be like number 5 or lower on it. And you wouldn't see any of these. You wouldn't see any of the other pages on there. So that's a good way just to go and check for free. So it's a little bit extra steps. It's not automated like the tool is, but you can still accomplish all these things. Those are the kind of the free methods of doing it. It's just more manual work. So does that help? I think.
I think people are pretty fired up.
That tool is amazing.
Yeah, the tool is really awesome. I got into this after Moz. Like, I use Moz and Ahrefs a lot, and when this first hit the market, it was definitely a learning curve. But I use this all the time now.
Yeah, I just got a private message from Russ, who just joined us this week. And Russ says, I'm not going to read his whole message because it's private and has a few private details, but I'll kind of blur some things out. But he says, I'm eating this up. I can't believe this community is so helpful. I'm an affiliate with blank and blank, where people are after their own butts, like covering their own butts is what he's saying. Yeah, we're really not kidding when we say that OMG is a city on a hill. It's a place where friends come together in Providence. Ron Carmichael just posted in the Facebook group, Jimmy, beer for you, sir. All right, great. I think everyone's having a great time here. Greg and Jimmy are making this seem so easy, but they've been grinding it out behind the scenes with help from so many different individuals inside of OMG, with Sue's help and with Tim Schmidt's help, with Chris Marshall's help, a number of other people. Again, I'm never trying to leave anybody out at all, but it's just so incredibly valuable here, and the outpouring in public is great. The outpouring privately in the question box is great. What I want to do at this point, we're an hour and 35 minutes in. I'm a little bit ambitious to keep this pretty close to 2 hours. I'm not going to be a total stickler for that, but there's a few reasons. I know we're going to be starting Sunday Fun Day in the beginners Facebook group is one reason. And also, anyways, I just have a few reasons. Sue Bell, are you still there? You still hanging on?
And really quick.
Oh,
really
sorry.
quick,
Greg, go ahead.
just for Jimmy, for the people who do want that tool, Jimmy, can you tell people what plan you use for the data you get?
Oh yeah, that would actually be really great, because this is pretty advanced. But if you're going to be getting into site recovery and so forth, this can be valuable. So think of this as, like I'm thinking about buying a Lamborghini, but I didn't think about that. Maybe I thought about it a year ago, but I didn't do it. I bought like a GTR, which is more affordable. I guess I don't know how good of a reference point this is. But then before that, for 10 years, I drove a Land Cruiser. You know, it has like 250,000 miles on it. So there's nothing like the Land Cruiser can get you to the GTR. I don't know how helpful this is. This is probably a pretty bad way of putting things. But my point is, you just don't need the super maxed out stuff to begin with. You can be buying PBNs for $10 a pop, like Greg's video just showed you, and then that can help you fulfill with your first clients and start getting your first affiliate paychecks. And then as you're getting more profitable, then you can start adding these tools on. One of the things I talked about, that David Mills talked about in his most recent standalone law of implication series, is the reason why we partner with people, or the reason why we would hire people, which is the reason we do it. Give me the number one if you know in advance what I'm going to say. I'm kind of curious how many people have been through those videos and remember what David said about it. I'm just kind of curious. Just quick show of hands here. So Patrick remembers. Anybody else? Joe, Heather does. And it's okay if you don't. I'm just kind of like sometimes just to take the temperature. Pat does. Okay, so not a lot of people. Carolyn does. Okay, so this would be particularly good. The reason that David will either partner with somebody, he's the one who makes the partnership and hiring decisions, although we have no employees, but so regardless, the reason why we partner with somebody, like for example, the reason we partner with Greg is for one of two reasons: either to make breakthroughs or to avoid a deadfall or a failure condition, something that's going to take us out. Same reason for our strategic alliances. And it's also the same reason that we buy tools. Like the reason I have Aweber is that Aweber allows me to email 15,000 people at a time, which would otherwise be, like I couldn't break through. I just couldn't get enough momentum. I'd get stuck too much. That's the same reason why I buy certain graphic design packages to be able to make a website look really great or something like that. So it's fine to buy things that will help you make the next breakthrough, or to help you avoid a deadfall. Now, in this case, as your business grows, what Jimmy is showing you right now, Link Detox Tool, once you're making thousands of dollars a month, this can really make a lot of sense. I think I just saw, I'm curious if Kurt is in the audience, and I think I saw Mike Hayden in the audience. I want to get a couple of testimonials as to the power of recovery, and we're going to be talking about this more and more as time goes on. Yeah, we got Kurt in the audience. I'm going to quickly make Kurt an organizer, and I'm going to make Mike Hayden an organizer. Oh, actually, I'm going to make Cotton an organizer too here really quick, because this is something that Cotton's been investing in. Cotton's business is growing and growing, and now he wants to know more and more about how to protect his sites, how to cover this. Let me see. So who just came live? Cotton, is that you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great. So Cotton, as your business has been growing, you've now started to invest in being able to protect your big sites and your client sites. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I think it's vitally important in the growth of like everything.
All right, great. And Cotton's coming out a little bit distorted, but I believe he said absolutely, and he's getting absolutely on top of this stuff. Kurt, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Kurt. Listen, man. Bad news for you. I hate to break this to you. A guru told me that disavow doesn't work.
That really bummed me out when I saw that.
Yeah. Did you give back your $15,000 a month that you're making?
No, the sites are all still ranking well.
Oh, that's so weird.
It is weird.
Of course, I'm being a little bit sarcastic here. Kurt has been, really studying with Jimmy. And Kurt, can you let people know the power of this kind of stuff?
Well, yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I'm happy to see increases of a few positions when I do something, but when it goes up like 50 or 60 overnight, that's a lot of power.
Yeah, and you've done this again and again and again and again, like over a dozen times. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've worked on lots of sites now for penalty recovery, and the stuff that Jimmy's going over, it's exactly the stuff that I'm doing. It works killer. You just got to know what to look for, but once you know that, it's like clockwork. Awesome.
Mike Hayden, can I get you to chime in as well, because you've been doing some recoveries as well?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, recovery's fantastic. Love it.
And by the way, what time is it in Australia right now?
It's 4:38 a.m.
Okay, well, thank you very, very much for joining us at this early hour. We really appreciate it. We just so everybody knows, we really do try to space these things out so they'll happen at different times and so forth. Yeah, so this is really where it's at. And you know, I made a little bit of a joke to Kurt Inget about the disavow tool working, but a major SEO guru very irresponsibly posted that on her site, and it's you know, frankly, it makes me angry because it leads people in the wrong direction and it harms them. And, you know, I'm not going to go on and on about this, but this is one of the reasons why you need to be getting your information right here from the guys who really know what's going on. The guys who are having success, Greg and Jimmy, are having success with this stuff, and then they're sharing it with you. And, of course, you know, we're getting just such wonderful results. Also, by the way, Cotton, I just want to throw out there, I saw Rayner's post about the most recent success story in NHB and reference to you again, which is awesome. You know, OMG is a city on a hill. It's a place where friends come together in Providence. Now, what I'd like to do at this point, we've had a few questions. Sue, we've been getting more and more questions about SE, about Social Explosion and Reloaded. This is a little bit out of the blue, but are you prepared to comment either on that or if not, maybe on vSilo right now? It's a little bit thrown in, but I'd hate to have you here and not take advantage of that if possible.
What I wanted to do actually was talk about the theory behind what we call PB0N Reloaded, what that does, and how it impacts everything that we've talked about today.
Terrific. Does it work? Now, did we let people know enough about what they need to know here, Jimmy, to get started with Detox before we pass things over to Sue? Jimmy!
Actually, I'm going to keep Jimmy in the hot seat. I'm just going to ask questions and make him draw on his graphic.
Okay, cool. Jimmy Kelly!
If he hasn't gone away.
Uh-oh. Somebody ran Jimmy off. Greg, did you take Jimmy on your ATV or something like that?
Yeah, he's gone.
Jimmy,
he's self-muted. I don't know if he can hear us or
Jimmy,
not.
are you climbing around? What are you doing there, bud?
He's smoking on that e-cig.
Sorry, I'm sitting here talking and nobody's hearing me.
Okay. So
all you need right here is the starter. You don't need these big ones unless you can afford it. It's more, for me, we use the superhero. But you can, this is the one you're looking for, is the link detox credits, and if you run out, you can always just purchase these credits separately. So, you know, I recommend it, but it's not a necessity. You know, we just showed you the other free ways to kind of go and check that stuff, but it definitely makes life easier. So, you know, don't think you have to go out and get the Enterprise Edition or something like that. And we don't make money off of this. This is just the tool, just like Ahrefs, that we use. So. And
of course, it'd be great if we did make money on it. We just don't.
Yeah.
I like to point these things out. Okay. So Sue wanted to walk us through something.
Yeah. Jimmy, can we pull your diagram back up with the links?
Sure. This one?
That's the one. I think that's the one. That'll work. So let's talk for a few minutes about, let's start with vKraken. What does vKraken do for us when we're looking at a blog? It's a plugin that's going to use YouTube. You put in some themes. And so let's look at your average PBN. You probably have PBNs that have got different topics on them. It might not be a themed PBN. You might want to think about moving more toward themed PBNs, but that's for another topic. So typically speaking, a PBN is going to have up to 10 articles on it, and you're going to have 2 or 3 of those articles maybe that have got links going to various money sites or maybe all to the same money site. And typically what happens is you create the PBN, you create your articles, you put up the links, and you leave the PBN alone, right? And so Google's not really happy about that because Google likes to see sites that are continually being updated and have visitors to them, and it just looks like an active site. So when you have a site that goes stale, then it's going to naturally start to drop in the rankings. So these are changes that have happened in the last, I don't know, 12 months or so, and I would imagine that is going to continue to move forward. So what PB0N Reloaded does is it provides an automated way to keep excitement on your site, provide you with new content, provide you with new inbound links, and provide you with visitors. So we'll just talk for a minute about how that actually works. So if you've got a PB0N and it's pointing to these money sites, and you've got those 3 blog posts that you want to make sure that those actually stay on the front page, because usually it's the front page of a PB0N that's got all the domain authority and page rank, right? So there we go. We've got our PB0N, and it's pointing to our money sites. That's a link pointing to money site number 1. So that's going to be a particular post. The post is going to be on its post page, and the post is also going to be on the home page. So by default, as you create more and more posts, your older posts scroll off the front page. They go into the archive file, and they lose their juice, which is typically why most people don't put new content on their PB0Ns, because they want to keep those posts with the links to them going to their money sites on the home page. So we've got a suite of 3 plugins that help solve this problem. So the first plugin, actually, you specify which posts you want to keep on the home page, and they stay on the home page, even so you add more posts. The second one is vKraken, which is going to allow you to put in some keywords, and it'll go out and find videos on those keywords and create new posts. Let's just show something that's got new posts adding to it, to this PB0N. Can we do that like a little
Do you have an
blog
example
blocks?
site that would show?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you want the screen?
No.
Oh.
Because I actually want to talk about theory for a second. So you're going to have new posts that are going to come in, and then what we want to have happen are new links also coming to these new posts. That works. Okay, perfect. And then let's create some new links to those new posts. So this is Social Explosion that creates the new links. In your blog, in your PB0N blog, you install the plugin Social Explosion, and every time you have a new post, it's going to create, actually it's not Facebook, it's Pinterest, and Twitter, and Digo, and Delicious. All right, so it's going to automatically create inbound links, and it'll create up to 225, I think is the number, inbound links, social inbound links for each one of your new posts. So if you have it set to high, you can set it, there's like, there's high, medium, and low for each one of the social accounts. So there's a variety of settings that you can make. You can create however many inbound links that you want by default for all of your posts.
And Sue, as you're explaining this, people, you can do this manually. So she's showing you how to automate something. You can do it manually until you're ready. Again, this is the same kind of thing we talked about before. This is the kind of thing that you can do manually until you're, like ready to kind of automate it a little bit more. And then at that point, it's really quite great, right, to be able to automate this. We've stuck PB0N Reloaded on Nashville SEO, for example, and it bumped our domain authority by, Jimmy, how much do you think so far?
I'm not sure. I haven't checked it for a while.
It was at least 10 or 15.
Yeah, we can usually, with a brand new domain, we can usually get the domain authority up in the 20s.
Yeah.
With Social Explosion and vKraken.
Yeah, so, and we push up into the I think into the 30s. For
32, Mike.
What is it?
32.
So up to 32. Yeah, it was right around 20 when we started. So about a 12-point push there.
Okay.
Now, of course, and again, I could have done this manually, and that's fine. The way, how would you do this whole thing manually?
So let me talk about it manually for a minute. So Twitter and Facebook are pretty easy to do manually. You can do them through Twitter feed, although Twitter feed's been requiring us to go back in about once every 30 days and revalidate the links. So I think Russ was recommending something besides Twitter feed the last couple of weeks, and it's slipped my mind what that is. Russ, are you still there? No. So, so there are other options.
Yes, I am still here. Sorry.
Cool. So you were recommending something else besides the Twitter feed recently because we were having to go back in and revalidate those Twitter feed accounts.
Well, Twitter feed has put a lot of these social services to prevent automation have kind of created time limits on their tokens and their apps, such as Facebook. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. There's many apps that you can automate those types of things. One of them is Hootsuite, which uses their own link shortener. We are building our own link shortener, but Hootsuite uses owl.ly. So that might be one option for you guys. It's limited, doesn't have like the bookmarks and stuff that we're using, but it does have Google Plus page and Facebook, and does not automate Pinterest. In fact, nothing automates Pinterest so far out there, with the exception of Social Explosion. Again, I'm biased, of course, but that's why we did it. So you can definitely do Twitter and Facebook with it, and Google Plus page with Hootsuite.
So somebody asked me if these Web 2.0 accounts are owned by Network Empire, and that is the difference. So we've been doing this for our own sites for years, and so we just expanded on it and revamped the application so that we could actually let you guys use it too. So we have an army on all 4 of these platforms, and your post is, like to Twitter, your post is split up and sent out, so it's not even always the headline that gets sent out. It can be actually parts of your content. So, perfect. So, so in this diagram, you can see how one post is going to get a whole bunch of tweets. Each one of those tweets has a shortener on it, and you actually get a bit of a domain authority stack with this. In fact, yeah, we'll talk more about that at the very end of the webinar. And so yes, these are our own accounts. If you're not going to use Social Explosion, then you need to go create your own accounts, and you need to set up the automation to those accounts. You can do it at one time. You just don't get too much diversity. So you want to be sure, if you're going to do that by hand, you want to make sure that each one of your PBNs has a different set of accounts. If you use the same social media accounts across your PBNs, then you're going to leave that footprint that we were talking about earlier. So, and that's why we have a veritable army. We've literally got thousands of accounts. So,
Sue, before
yeah.
I forget, a lot of people ask about it, using this on a money site. Can you tell them about that?
Absolutely, you can use it on a money site. We use it on all our money sites.
Thank you.
So we have, for our money site, we have our branded social media platforms that you can also use Social Explosion to send it out to your branded social media platforms, or you can do those a different way. I used to use Twitter feed, but I've had to move away from it because it doesn't tell you when it goes belly up. That's the thing that's most annoying about it. So Alvin, I don't know what that problem is. Please put in a help desk ticket, and we'll take a look at it. I know we've got a couple of help desk tickets we're running down. So the advantage. Talk for a minute, Jimmy, about how these inbound links can help to alleviate Panda and filter penalties.
Okay, so let me ask a question in the audience. Well, I'm going to ask a couple of questions. What do you think is more beneficial, to have a program that you have access to thousands of accounts to that are going to push social signals to each of your new posts on autopilot, versus doing the same 234 signals individually? Which one would you pick? Give me a 1 if you'd pick doing it automatically. Because I want you guys to understand, this isn't like doing like one tweet. It's going and doing hundreds of them. Same with Pinterest pins. Same with getting bookmarks from Delicious and Dig. Okay, now let me ask you a second question here, just so people are following. If Google sees social signals going to a site, give me a 1 if you think that's going to benefit your site's rankings. Yeah, so you guys all understand that. So basically what this plugin does is taking away all your pain of having to go out and create accounts and to go out and get your pictures put on Pinterest, get these things put out on Twitter, get them bookmarked. It's just all done on autopilot. And the best thing about this is it increases your domain authority and gives that quality effect that Google's looking for having that social engagement going to your site. So that's what social explosion is all about. You know, it's a real pain in the market. I mean, I don't know how many of you have gone out there and seen some other tools that might be similar, but typically you go into it and then they're like, well, these will automate it, but you have to go in and create your own account. Like, for me, that always ticks me off, because by the time I get to them, I mean, who wants to input like hundreds of accounts or create them yourself? You know, I mean, what a waste of time. So this is just automatically done for you, very simple. You install the plugin. It's going to, as soon as you put up a new post, it's going to get all those social links going to that post as they roll out. And you can set how many you want depending on if you want to do a high amount every month or a low amount every month. And that's how social.
And really, they should start with a low amount, correct? Like if they're not sure. Because otherwise they just burn through their credits right away, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just really depends on where they're at. You know, you can really, you know, so one way that domain authority builds fast. So those of you that don't know, the payday loans is all about your domain authority. The higher your domain authority, typically the
you
more
mean
trust.
The payday loans update?
Yeah, typically the more trust it has. Okay, so those that don't know me, I've been in the finance niche for like years. Like I got into finance, credit cards.
So like if we look at cheap car
loans,
if we look at like cheap car insurance, like cheapcarinsurance.net, one of the big keys to that site ranking is it's just got massive domain authority.
Massive domain authority, and that's how you rank in the search engines. That's what payday loans is all about. So instead of, they want to put a quality site on there. So typically, the higher DA you have, the easier it's going to be for you to rank for the keywords that you're trying to rank for. Okay, so what this plugin does, the fastest way to build domain authority, so let's say we took all these social links and we pointed it to just the home page of a site. If we took the same amount of social signals and put them and spread them out to all the posts on a site, the ones where it gets spread out to each post will build your domain authority faster than if you took them all and put them straight to straight to your home page. Give me a 1 if that makes sense.
So spreading out makes it's much more strategic. It's the same amount of resources, but just by spreading them out, you're getting like a much greater effect.
And somebody asked, I saw, how are the accounts created? You don't have to create any accounts. We've already have them for you. You can input your own, your single one for your domain if you want, but it's not a necessity. Okay, we have these will go out to individual accounts automatically. You don't have to register anything. You don't have to sign up for anything. You install the plugin, select how you want it, and hit go.
Exactly. I just want you guys to know that this is incredibly expensive to build. This is part of the network empire social signal exchange of massive users, all these accounts, including the scale up of contributing accounts with other users. Some of these were from our original armies. Some of these are brand new users and accounts. It's been the hardest thing I've ever had to sell because people think they have to go out and create accounts. Like when you go to Social Adder, you plug it in, you turn it on, you get your tokens, and then you start firing your backlinks, link URL shorteners. Somebody asked, do you use link shorteners? Yes, we use them from several different services. So you get your link diversity, you get your redirects, and you get this massive churn of social signals, which is the human factor, as well as traffic, as well as the backlink profile increased as per Jimmy's. Just want to make you guys sure that aware of how complex the system is and how authentic, verified, and how widespread. We do also have on the plugin, you are able to put one of your own at layer 2 inside the plugin. You can add your own Twitter, Pinterest, Digo.
Yeah, let me just demo that really fast, and then we'll get on to the last part.
And one of the things that I see people run into again and again is signing up and just blowing through their tokens. So I'm just going to put the word out here, and this is final. If you don't know, set it to low to begin with, okay? And then as you understand it, and you want to ramp up power, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Then you can set it to medium or high. But if you're not sure, by the virtue of not being sure, that means set it to low, and then understand what's going on better, and then you can calibrate from there. Sorry, go ahead, Sue, because I just run into that all the time.
Exactly. Thanks, Mike. That's a huge issue.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to do a couple of videos over the course of the next 3 days to show you the technical aspects of these plugins, because we didn't have the time to get into it today. So don't feel like, and Greg's also got some videos already in the members area, but I'm going to do a few more from a slightly different perspective and just show you guys some finer points on how to set these plugins up. So this is the activation screen where you put in your username and token. You select the category that you want your blog to be in, and there's like entertainment, lifestyle, and I think there's a miscellaneous, all varied, and others. So if you don't fit in one of the existing ones, you can put it in one of those.
People are wondering where to sign up for this. It's getting like a little distracting for them. This will be inside of your OMG Network Empires. Inside of your OMG area, there's a Network Empires area, and it's inside of there. That's where you get it. Go ahead, Sid.
Yeah. So here on Twitter, for example, you come in here and you're going to want to enable it, or whichever ones you want to enable. You don't have to enable all of them. You've got choices for each one. This is where you set it to low and low. If you have your own account that you want to use, you can enable that, and you can put in your username and password and save your changes. This doesn't have to be enabled. You can just set this to low and low, click Save Changes, and Bob's your uncle, and it will be off and running. So you can see right now here under Account Setting, you can see that I've got 550 credits available, and you can come in here. It'll send you a report each week, but you can come in here every day or every few hours if you want to see how fast you're burning through your credits. And also here under Reporting, this also comes to you in your email every week, but you can come in here and you can see how many have been scheduled. Now, from the time the post goes live until the time it schedules social signals, it's a few hours. So don't be worried if you come in here and you see, oh my goodness, my blog is posting and I don't see anything. If something doesn't seem right, then give us a shout on the help desk. Now, let's talk here. vKraken is the other thing that we're going to show you, and vKraken is the thing that does the auto posting. So when you come in here and you set up queries for vKraken to post videos, how often you set and how many keywords you use is going to determine how many posts you get and how fast you're creating posts. So for every post you create, remember you're going to have your social settings, your social signals automatically going. So if you don't set up too many vKraken posts to post in a day and you set your social explosion to low and low, then you'll go through posts through your credits and social explosion fairly nominally. All right, so we're here at the top of the hour, so let's talk about, Jimmy, do you have the link that we need to give these guys? Because we've got a surprise.
You can pull it up in a notepad if you want.
You know what, let me pass it back.
You know what, just 1 second before we do that. It's actually pretty important timing-wise. I don't believe we ever got to the actual disavow, and I don't think that we actually got to answering Fletch's question.
We did get to the disavow. We did
get to disavow? Okay, yeah. Great. So can we get to Fletch's question? I just want to make sure we take care of that, and then we're going to end with a fun little bit here. Fletch, are you still there? Fletch may not be. I think he is, yeah.
I am, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just want to kind of round things out with Fletch's question. And once again, to get Social Explosion and vKraken, which OMG endorses very much, then you can get that inside of your Project X or Project J members area in the Network Empires area. Fletch, what was your question?
It was earlier, Mike. Actually, we did kind of cover that. It was a bank of about 10 money sites that I had hacked that got some spammy content put on them. And even after I went through and cleaned up my files and got good content back on them, the rankings did not recover. And we kind of covered just going back in and resubmitting that for inclusion in the webmaster tools. So,
okay, great. I just wanted to make sure we rounded that out. All right. So we're just getting ready to wrap things up here. Let the mayhem begin. Jimmy, did you want to make your little announcement here?
Yeah, so for Fletch's thing, so you can come in here and you can go to security issues in your Google Webmaster Tools, and just go over here and click on resources for hacked sites, and it'll tell you exactly how to go in and submit that back in for getting it kosher with Google again. That's specifically for Fletch's.
Is that correct?
Yes, we are.
All right, so the way to do that is we'll go over to our OMG Beginners group. Everyone here is eligible to be in the OMG Beginners group, so send me a message on Facebook if you're not a member and you'd like to be added. And this is the thread right here. It happens in text. And we've got Gregory, who's right here. Gregory joined us just a little over 100 days ago. He's made 5 figures a month since he joined us, and he's sharing his insights. This is a way that he's giving back, and you get to jump into this group and post your questions on PBNs. You can post your questions on getting clients, on some tech stuff you may not understand, and so on. So you can, post your stuff here, and I highly recommend this. Folks have had so much fun with this Sunday Funday thing, and it's been really cool. Dave Keys has jumped on a couple times to help us out with it, and I've seen Fletch post some answers in there. And if you happen to know some answers and you want to chime in, then that's great. If you have questions, it's a great place to post, and I will add people as quickly as possible. And what I'm going to do now, so I recommend you jump in for Sunday Funday. This is the thread from last week. There was almost 150 posts in there. Really, really great question and answer session here. I think Gregory has been working on ManhattanGuide.net. Is that correct, Gregory?
Yes, that's correct.
And so these are the My City Guide sites. And this is something we're going to be getting more and more with OMG into talking about domain authority and really getting the power of domain authority in our websites. We're making these more biggish sites. And these sites can benefit from this domain authority stacking and so forth that we're learning from Jimmy. And it can make it so you're having a site and you'll put up maybe an article on a local business in your area, well, we have the Franklin, Tennessee Guide is an example of a My City Guide site. So if I go to Franklin, tnguide.com, FranklinTNGuide.com. This is from your Over the Shoulder series with Greg Morrison, and Greg put this site together for us here. This is the site's Franklin TN Guide. I did the content for the site, and Greg is doing the SEO for it. And Greg, we're actually already ranking for some of these things up here on the site, just as we're just beginning. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we actually use the cheaper domains, the actual expired domains to rank all these terms too. So they're all very cheap domains.
Yeah, this was done very inexpensively. How much is the total cost to rank? We have a lot of page ones on the site, and how much have the PBNs cost to build this?
I don't remember the exact number. Actually, guess what? We're now number 1 for Franklin TN car insurance.
Are we really?
Yep.
Oh man, I gotta sell that. And another thing I could just do is, by the way, stick up a CPA ad on there, which I may do. Joe Marfolio just put up a video on sticking CPA up. I might turn this into a bit of a CPA site as well. And we're going to be expanding this. We're going to add a page for Franklin SEO. Greg, what all are we adding to this? I forgot now.
I don't remember either. David Mills had that whole plan in place.
Okay, great. So anyways, you'll see this roll out over time. Think of this, a site like this, as being like a weekly news magazine for your area. And this is one way. This is such a great way of getting started. You get to watch Over Greg's Shoulder. I show you how I made up this theme, and I got help from Mike Hayden on this theme. This is the Wild Country theme that Mike Hayden and his partner Clinton Dixon have so generously donated just for Project Xers and members of Project J. And this is such a great way of getting started, practicing perfectly and really learning what you're doing correctly while building a valuable website. So that's one of the things you can be asking questions about during Sunday Funday. Greg, did you have something to say? Yep.
If you haven't seen that over the shoulder series, make sure you watch it. Like, we're also #2 for Franklin car insurance, and these aren't easy keywords. I mean, they're not hard, but we're in front of Allstate, we're in front of State Farm, or we're in front of Nationwide.
Yeah.
Sitting there at #2 with like 2 links. So check out that over the shoulder series.
Excellent. And I'm logging into the Project J members area. This over the shoulder series is such a great way to get started. Is right here. Huge demo by Greg. Okay, I'll zoom in a little bit. That's right here. And to get in on Social Explosion, we have this wonderful training and software from Network Empires. We click in on the Network Empires main page, okay? And this is the PBN Reloaded. This is the area, okay, where you'll get that. And there's other great stuff in there like vSilo. They're going to be talking about that more in the near future, okay? All right. Hopefully everybody had a good time, and give me a hashtag City on a Hill in the members group if you are fired up about everything that's going on. And again, please jump in on this. Gregory, about how long are you going to be running Sunday Funday today?
It's going to be actually a couple hours. My wife and I fortunately picked out the house today, so we signed all the
You picked out a house?
and everything, so we don't have any more house signing to do. Yeah,
so
we
this
did.
is an
We
OMG
finished
house?
everything today. Yep, the house that OMG built, actually.
How does your wife feel about that?
Oh, she's super excited. I mean, she's known about everything with OMG from the beginning. Well, not necessarily the beginning, because I hid it from her at first when I first but ever since then, she's been excited about it. So.
Okay, great. Well, maybe we'll have her come on a Webby and put the word out at some point too. Well, we really appreciate everybody jumping on. This is such an exciting time. It's all happening inside of OMG. Things just keep getting better and better. Thanks to the design of David Mills and the hard work of the guy who I call the one-man gang, Greg Morrison, the hard work of Jimmy Kelly, of Cotton Grammar has been in there swinging. Really proud, by the way. We had an all-new earnings report come in from Rayner, and let me find that. Just wonderful, deserving credit to to Cotton Grammar. He's been working behind the scenes, helping so many people. Where is this? Rayner. Gosh, we have it's such an active page. It's amazing to me. But anyways, we have one there from Rayner. I don't know where it is. Gosh, it's so active. Here we go, Rayner. Cotton Grammar, what an awesome guy. Your help has been so valuable. Landed my first 2 clients this week. Hashtag City on a Hill from Rayner. And of course, Cotton's so humble and correct. He says, you're a superstar, Rayner. Congratulations on not 1 but 2 clients. Hashtag boom. So many people working behind the scenes. We've got Sue and Russell jumped on in this event and with wonderful spirit and gave us great guidance on getting into Social Explosion and how you could do that manually. Such a wonderful time to be inside of OMG. I told people this story before, but when I was getting started with internet marketing, I just wanted to frickin' know what it looked like to be able to watch over somebody's shoulder as they created a successful and profitable website like this one, to be able to see the moves. And, I looked high and I looked low. I went to expensive events, $2,000, $4,000 an event. I bought expensive information products. And the reality was this sort of thing didn't exist. So I used the skills that made me popular in high school to pull together a group of guys where I could actually see who was having success and where. And I got to see over their shoulders. And as soon as I had that information, my success exploded within weeks. And that's why we put together OMG for you. You get to enjoy this culture. You get to see where the success is happening. And this wonderful miracle of SEO. Really get to tap into that free traffic. We had such an amazing event tonight. So really appreciate everybody for jumping in. I hope you had a great time. And thank you, Gregory Ortiz, for running Sunday Funday. Thank you, Jimmy Kelly, especially. Wonderful event. Can we get big ups to Jimmy and Greg on the Facebook group here, if possible? The OMG Team Facebook group. Love to see. Thanks to them, and thanks to Sue and Russell as well. Sue left our Facebook group. She was a little too cool to hang out in there, but Russell's still in there, so you can tag him. Sue, why did you leave the Facebook group? You get.
I didn't leave the Facebook group.
You didn't leave the Facebook. Can I add you?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure. So now you can tag Sue. Of course, I was just teasing you, Sue. I was sure that was not intentional, or maybe you were never in correctly, so it's probably my bad. My apologies. And one last thing, guys, if you haven't got your ticket yet to OMG Live Nashville, then actually that's
I bought mine.
little details. Pull up a notepad document here real quick. You can go to omgmachines.com/live, and we're going to be going November 15th through 17th. It's omgmachines.com/live.php. That's how you jump in on OMG Live Nashville. That's November 15th through 17th in Franklin, Tennessee, and it is going to be a barn burner. OMG Live Nashville. And you'll get to meet me and Greg and Jimmy and Russell and Sue and Cotton and David Mills and more. It's going to be awesome event. All right, I want to thank everybody for jumping in. This has been an epic event and just wonderful. Really appreciate you jumping in on this. Jump in on Sunday Fun Day. Have a great time. And I want to thank you all. God bless everybody here. Thanks everybody. Jimmy, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks, Greg. An honor every time.
You too, Mike. Sorry, I was muted there.
No worries. And Sue, thank you so much for jumping in on this.
My pleasure, Mike. Thank you so much.
Are you looking forward to your coffee?
I am. I
Your
can't
coffee
wait.
delivery? I deliver Sue coffee at OMG Live Nashville. It's part of our pact.
It was awesome.
Okay, great. All right, great. And thanks also to Kurt Inget and Mike Hayden and Fletch and Dave Keys for jumping live, and of course also to Gregory Ortiz. So it's an awesome time. Jump in. It's all happening inside of OMG. All right, God bless all of you. We will see you on the inside of Sunday Fun Day. I'm going to end the webinar now.
All right, see you guys there.